Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. My name is Gabriella Palezos. I'm live in Sydney, Australia. It's 5:30 p.m. It's quite warm, even though it's cloudy out here in Sydney. I just need to drink some more water. Thanks guys for joining in. Please feel free to ask any questions. I was just going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm approximately 40 years old. I'm through a university, studying a university degree. I started studying and asking, questioning what love was, and this journey started more than 17 years ago, and it's only been recent that I've actually sorry about the lighting in here. Might turn on the light. Oh. Is that any better? Yeah. It's only been recent that I've been able to change my YouTube channel and make live recordings. I started recording. I've been recording now for 2 years. Some of those recordings have not been uploaded. They haven't been uploaded. I was just checking my microphone was on. Due to my lack of graphic design skills and video editing skills. So apart from getting lost sometimes, I end up playing with the software editing programs, and then it takes too long for me to upload. As far as for the divine love path, I discovered this path approximately in 2012, late 2012, and I've been studying and watching, and I've even attended a event which took place late 2016 in Nisaville, and you can see me. I'm in the audiences in uploaded on YouTube, in the audiences on the spiritual laws. So I'm born in Australia. I have a European background. My family actually had migrated out from Greece in the early 1970s, and I travel between the eastern states of Australia. My passion and desire is for truth, scientific truth, theological truth, and theological truth, and for accuracy, for the embetterment of humankind, and for my passion and desire is to embetter the welfare of humanity, as well as myself. So if you enjoy watching the recordings, you can go straight to my YouTube channel. I do this for free, but I can't continue doing it for free unless, there is some monetary gifting. If you enjoy watching it and would like to donate, then there is a place to donate on my YouTube channel. In this session, I have completed a recording on identifying and unpacking the biopsychosocial model, biomedical model, and the true model, which is the soul spirit bio model of the true personhood. It hasn't been uploaded, so really apologies for that. So this is why I have, since everything's been set up here, actually in my home office, and the recording is all set up, I can, thanks Dave, I can go ahead and make that recording. I'm more than passionate to share my insights with you. And like I said, my major development of love that I was seeking answers to definitely happened when I found the truth and the love from the divine truth. And thank you so much to the souls that have returned to share this with humanity. So before that, I was greatly influenced by authors such as Dr. Shinoda Bolen, who's a psychiatrist in New York, and also by psychiatrist Dr. M. Scott Peck, who was a Christian, actually, a psychiatrist, I think he was. When I was searching for answers in regards to understanding what love was, I studied the books of Dr. Gary Chapman on the 5 love languages. The metaphysical knowledge came much earlier. I actually had a very profound metaphysical receiving of knowledge under the author of actually he's not a doctor. His name is Stuart Wilde. Apparently he has passed. He's from the United Kingdom, and I read all his books. The Winds of Change was the title of that book that actually really, I was 21 at that time, 21 years old, and had a profound effect on me. Who else did I study? Oh, the esoteric astrologer from the 70s, Linda Goodman. She's fantastic. She's, I don't know any other astrologers, but she would be the only astrologer, I would say, that actually acknowledges who Jesus is. It's actually Jesus from the first century, and acknowledges that he's the true master. Who am I? Mary Ann Williamson. I read some of her books. I'm just going through some of the authors and the people that influenced my learning on this path that I was started a desire to discover approximately more than 16 years ago now. And there were books that I would pick up from the library. I used to spend a lot of time in the library. I worked both in government and hospitality, so when I wasn't working, I would go through the library and choose books, and this is how I found out a lot about what love is, how to practice love, what's the development of love. And then I started attending Christian churches, all types of denominations, Pentecostal, Baptist, Salvation Army. I worked as a volunteer crisis counsellor, and that started when I was 21. Volunteer fundraiser too. And that also, so that helped me understand human behavior a lot. And I had just this ongoing passion for understanding and studying human behavior and psychology. And that's why I had, on my spiritual path, to learn more about the divine, to understand God. And this is when I started, this happened 10, 12 years ago, when I started watching and attending all different spiritual paths and philosophies and different denominations of the Christian faith and Buddhist temples, and studying religions and theology. I went to many different events, human rights events, different conferences, and I have 2 bookshelves full I've even got both of my hard drives on my laptop are full. I have an external that's nearly going to be full now. So taking notes, and I'm pretty much through with it now. So I have some answers, and it was the divine truth that actually gapped a lot of the spaces of knowledge and put everything together for me. It was a profound experience, which I will share with you in another video, another recording. So in this session, I will cover the biopsychosocial model, and this is the biomedical model also, and the truth, which is what I've already shared with you, of the model of personhood. It's important to understand the limitations and where the truths and the untruths are a lack of gap knowledge, that both the health, medical, psychological, psychiatric, scientific associations, science that require immediate attention to, and to redesign and remodel their pure science and their treatment plans, therefore, and their not only treatment plans but also the growth of the soul, and that includes also the education system and the parenting system, basically all the systems on the planet. Okay. So this is the basic models that the medical and the psychological, and I think also psychiatric, use and therefore design their therapies and their treatment plans from. So if you don't get the model right, then there's going to be gaps in the treatment and therapy model. All right, so they have the biopsychosocial model is the biological body. Body. The psycho they usually have as sort of the psycho includes thoughts, which is the mind, what they call the cognitive, feelings or emotions, and the social, biopsychosocial, that's the next one. So at the moment, because they use what they call empirical evidence to collect, obviously there's a lot of ethical boundaries to experimenting on human beings, which is fortunate. You probably know of the experiments that the psychologist, I forgot his first name, Zimbardo did on the prison experiments, and it got out of hand, so they had to shut down the experiment fairly quickly. You've probably seen him on TV. In regards to, I think it was about the prison guards, and it was an experiment done on the social environment between the prison guards and the prisoners. And it got very toxic and very abusive, so they shut it down straight away. And that was under the psychiatrist or psychologist, Dr. Zimbardo. So, yeah, like I said before, because the humanity's collecting and observing human behavior, it's subjective, it's prone to subjective error. It is the least objective in a way. Not that the other disciplines aren't prone to subjective error, but especially when you're a human being and you're studying human beings, then the interpretation has a lot to do with your own unhealed causal emotions. Yeah. because then they have to interpret the data. So the interpretation of the data is going to have to fit certain belief systems. And obviously there has been progression because there is some objectivity, and that's why we can see some of the some progression on the planet at the moment. So the model that they use is they don't. Psychic in the Greek means the soul. That's what it means in the Greek, psyche, and psychology is the logic of the soul. So take note, it is logic. So therefore it must be mathematical and scientific as well. So the person that obviously created the soul would be logic as well, which is the creator, logical at all times. Hope the theologians are listening. So it's not the brain, or not only exclusive to the mind, which is the thoughts that come from the spirit body's mind. And we can see there's been a huge awareness of being mindfulness. And I know I went to a Buddhist temple 2 months ago. It was very good meditation, but the limitation with meditation in the mind and controlling being mindfulness is that it takes a very, very long time to be trained to control yourself and control your thoughts at the mind level, and to also minimize your desires, which is innately given to every human being. Desire is a normal quality of the soul's growth, quality to be grown in the soul, to become pure and purified and perfected. Also with the brain and the thoughts and the emotions, there has been scientific discovery now of the soul. I think they were able to capture it by equipment that was able to photograph it. And also the chakras, they know of for many decades now, and even practiced in ancient China and even in Greece and the Mediterranean, metaphysical, what they know is esoteric. And the soul was known from the ancient Greek philosophers of Socrates and Aristotle and Plato. The Japanese studies that have now been conducted, I think it's been more than a couple of years, because I remember Jesus saying this a couple of years ago in a video. The Japanese studies showed that they've taken a snowflake, and every snowflake is unique, but they started projecting emotions onto the snowflake to see what were the effects of it. And obviously the effects of where unloving, unkind emotions, hatred, unkindness, rage, violence was projected onto the snowflake. It became fragmented, and it lost its structure, whereas the snowflakes that had projected love onto, the emotion of love, kindness, gentleness, loving emotions, maintained their structure and their design and sort of glowed a lot more than obviously the other ones. So it is a very amazing and very important study to have been conducted, and thanks to the Japanese scientists. Arigato, thank you in Japanese. And I thought that was in Romanian, but it's not. That truly gives us scientific evidence, and obviously we know that from our own selves, that we can feel when someone's being unloving, and it makes us feel fragmented and confused. So that was an amazing discovery to really highlight the power of emotions, and how powerful emotions are definitely loving emotions are definitely where the greatest healing and growth will come to humanity. So in psychology, they do address at an emotional level, feeling and becoming intellectually aware of your thoughts, but your mind can't do your feeling for you, cannot emotionally release your emotions, because it is an emotion. It's not under the control of the mind. It is soul-based quality and substance that comes from the soul, and can only be felt through and released from the person that sincerely wants to release toxic emotions, unloving, causal, unhealed emotions that have entered the soul. And you can only do that by feeling through them. So in the biopsychosocial model, so this is the bio. Just identifying the key components of the biopsychosocial model. And also we have the social. And the social is known as the cultural and the social environment that the person's embedded in. So your family, they basically categorize that into two categories, your micro and your macro. So your micro is your family, and your macro is the political, economic, the nation, and obviously they see you as an individual. Your friends and partners, and your culture, religious, spiritual. So that is the biopsychosocial model. And hold on a minute, I'll just check my notes. Okay. That's generally your biopsychosocial model. The personhood is seen as so it says here, the state or condition of being a person defined by one's individuality and aspects such as family, background, culture, ethnicity, systems of beliefs, occupational and recreational activities, and sexuality. Yeah. So basically it's the social environment that you've been born into. Social environment you're born into and being programmed with. I include that sexuality here at the moment. So it's this here. This is what this is your nature and nurture. That's your body systems. And your brain. You're just the chemical flesh body. That's how the biomedical model sees you out, and that's what they treat. They treat you at the body, at the level. So I'll just do the biomedical model. Biomedical. So basically, it's just the body. just the physical body. When they take a holistic approach, they integrate the biopsychosocial model of the person and the biomedical model. That's why they're able to turn off how they feel and become very objective, because usually it is at emergency situations and crisis situations that they treat you at the body. And then afterwards they could enlist other therapies. But at the physical level, you're just a sensory, chemical, elemental substances. That's what you're made up of. That's what you're made up of at the medical model. That's true. You're made up of bio. That's your biological state. The brain is just the hardware, like it's just the outside external shell. And it's a chemical, and it has voluntary and involuntary systems that govern the body and its ability, but the energy comes from your soul. Yeah. So let's move on to the one that I listed up here, which is your true model. So this is the true model of the real self. And this is your half the soul. If I go like that, okay. This is your soul half. Remember, I said to you that you're a whole soul, both male and female in a heterosexual soul. Your other half in a heterosexual soul will be your masculine half, which is unique to any other soul on this planet. But that's a whole other discussion about the intergender emotional injuries and the injuries, the untruths about the soulmates. But you have free will to believe whatever you want. But you have free will to know the truth too. Okay, so this is the true model. This is your bio, spirit, mind, and soul. It's all not free. This is your, so this is very general. It's purely for diagrammatical purposes. This is not anything in accuracy to how it looks. This is how it looks in accuracy to who you really are, your real person. But in as far as measurements and what happens if you're at that state of development or that state of development or another state of development of love, and what happens if you're a baby when you're an adult, obviously, and there's all different mathematical and scientific state that the soul, the physical, and the spirit bodies will be at, but it's all governed by law, like cause and effect law and all the spiritual laws. So like I said, this is the bio body. Actually, I'll make that the spirit body. So this is your spirit body. And this is this is a masculine. This is your biological body. And obviously you have a social environment, which includes physical beings, because you're in the universe, which is the people that you live with, and also spirit beings. And from that you have the relationship with God, the true loving he and she, truthful and loving at all times. Okay. Let's just take this apart a bit. So your soul, you can't say that. So that's your social environment that you're embedded in. So it's a bio, spirit, mind, soul, and social divine model. Or deity, depending what deity you're on. You could be on the natural love path, or you could be still learning on the divine love path. So this is your soul body. I think it's an entity that actually encapsulates both your physical and spirit body. And remember, we said you're only half of the soul. And I'll just put in the chords now. So there's chords. So there's a silver cord. And you have a golden cord. And you also have a rose cord. That's the other half of your soul, your soulmate, which is your soulmate, the soulmate cord. You know how they said, that's the one that brings you the rose flowers? I wonder if that's got something to do with the cord being rose-colored. So, okay, your soul holds your sexuality. So God created your expression. And this is key to understanding sexuality. We're talking about the gender and also the intimacy between the intimacy is supposed to be only between the two soul halves. That's how God created you, that you're already married to your soul half, your soulmate twin flame. So the sexuality is your gender, like if you're male or female. And there's certain qualities that qualify for the masculine expression and then qualify for the feminine expression, and together they're complementary, created to create together everything, which is a whole other discussion. So your gender currently on the planet, as we know, there's been some changes as far as the equality and the gender not being less constructed by the parents and the culture, though we have a very long way to go to get out of the first sphere. So your gender is like the programming that your family, the mother, the father, the other people in your family, extended family, the neighborhood, the school, the teachers, also the cultural environment, Western culture, Eastern culture that have classical gender constructs. It's constructed. That means it's been socially programmed into you. It's embedded neurologically in your brain, but it's embedded emotionally. And this is why the path is to remove these unloving beliefs and untruths so you can be your innate expression of your sexuality as you were created from God. So the sexuality is held by the soul, and it's just, if you're a feminine or soul, then you'll have feminine physical body and spirit body. If you're a masculine soul, you will have a masculine physical body and a masculine spirit body. So the soul determines the body's sexuality. Also, we have our emotions, like I said before. We have our personality. And this is where the personality is, some people like musically, geared, like they pick up a guitar and they're ready to go and they play. Some people like understand maths very quickly than other people. Everyone can understand maths. There's certain intelligence, like we know there's intelligence that we have on the planet that and that means that God created you with a certain personality that is innate and pure, and that you have these particular aspects to your personality that is unique to your soul and the measure of it. So the characteristics and attributes. The passions and desires. So there is a law that governs desire. It's actually called the law of desire. I really can't tell you the details of that. I can give you a link to it. It's interesting in the Netflix series where you have Lucifer that asks people, what is their desire, and he's able to have them, respond very quickly, what their desires are. There is a law that governs desire and the perfection and the purification of desire. Obviously, that desires come into harmony and alignment with love and truth, which is the love and truth spiritual laws that the Creator has created, not the love and truth definition of humanity or spirits, that's spirits in the darkest, in the lower spheres of the spiritual dimensions. Sexuality, personality, characteristics, passions and desires, memories, which is people that when you pass, you retain all your memories if you want to know them or not. A lot of, for example, scientists can't explain how can a person, be clinically dead and then remember all their memories, because they don't understand that the memories are stored in the soul. So for you to be dead, the golden cord, the silver cord needs to actually break from your spirit and physical, biological body. So this is also in the first century in the scripture where Jesus was able to raise Lazarus from the dead. He wasn't dead as in definition and truth, that the silver cord hadn't snapped. He was just in a coma, and if you're in a coma, the silver cord has not snapped yet. It's only when it snaps that you pass into the spiritual dimensions, or that your body starts to decompose. If you choose to stay here on earth, some spirits don't want to go where they're located in the spiritual dimensions because they don't like where they're going, so they stay around here on earth. So that's the truth, scientific and mathematically, logically, what's happening there. The silver cord stretches. That's why you have sleep state experiences, not dream state experiences. There's distinct differences between the state of that you're in when you sleep. When you're actually in your sleep state, you're able to travel both here on earth and also in the spiritual dimensions, because the silver cord actually stretches. So you know how when you're sleeping, you sort of get that shock? That's when your spirit body is actually leaving your physical body. And in many nights, when I returned, I know the point of when I'm returning to my physical body. There's a lot of spirits that hang around the spirit body and don't want you to enter your physical body because they want to inhabit your physical body. That's what's happening there. And sometimes there's a struggle that you can't get back into your body, and they stop you from getting back into your body. That's what's going on there. But there's about 10 hours worth of knowledge and truth on what goes on in your sleep state. I can provide links for you. You go straight away to divinetruth.com on YouTube and you'll find them if you just type in sleep state. The golden cord, I don't know much about that. That's all I know, that it's golden. That's the cord that, and I don't know what happens to the silver cord once you pass into the spiritual dimensions. I mean, yeah, it's interesting. I'm going to have to ask him about that. So we're talking about the soul, so the emotions, the personality, the characteristics, the attributes, the passions and desires, the memories. There's something else. I think I'm missing something. Okay, that's all I know right now. Okay, and you're embedded in the social environment. You're embedded in the social environment includes your culture, the religious, the spiritual beliefs, the emotions. Everything is driven by emotion. So the beliefs, the attitudes, also they have all an emotional driven substance, be it that it's healed, loving emotion, or it's unhealed, damaged emotion that's driving the belief systems of a group of people and also the individual. And obviously the spirits are here. They can influence, overcloak you, possess you. They have a rapport with you. They can guide you if they're benevolent. They greatly assist in discoveries, mathematical and scientific. They can assist with healing. There is spirit communication happening every day. This moment, there's spirit communication happening. And they communicate through thoughts, emotions. They can present a record for you. A record of your life, or your experience that you had. If you take a look at it, they will help you to whatever you've asked. They can guide you. My mediumship skills aren't that well honed, perfected, but there are mediums that are a lot more perfected than any mediumship that I would have. And obviously Jesus and Mary are the highest purified, perfected mediums on the planet right now, and this is why they're able to channel spirits in higher conditions and give us the knowledge and also the assistance they give to all the spirits that ask. The substance of the soul body obviously is different to the substance of the physical body. Your biological body is basic, the elemental chemical makeup that you have in your basic periodic table: oxygen, hydrogen, iron, calcium, and so forth. Your soul body is not the same substance. Your soul body is actually birthed and created innately perfect, pristine, and error-free. Remember, at the point of incarnation, it's only when you enter your attaches to the two physical bodies and it starts absorbing the parents' emotions. This is what we call the multi-generational sin, that it enters the unhealed causal emotions. And there's a branch of science called I'll say it in the Greek, it's called ethologia, which is ethology, and it means the logic of cause, which is cause logic. The causes are in the soul body. So whatever, which is governed by the law of cause and effect, which is what we discussed. And that is the branch where it takes a look at what are the causes at the soul level to therefore treat and heal and grow the soul in perfection and purification. Is there something that I've missed out? Yeah, so the personhood is that this is the model of your personhood. Oh, the will. Interesting. Free will. Your will, you have free will, you're given free will. And that means you're a sentient, sovereign human being. Not the state. The state doesn't have sovereignty. Every individual has sovereignty, and you make up the state. So the state, the government, the religion is a reflection of the group of thoughts and beliefs and emotions that are unhealed, causal emotions, that make up the system of the government and religion, right? So this is and the theological, the religious, this is the statesman and the deity that was at Troy, right? So the sovereignty doesn't belong to those systems, but it does because you're the individual and the group of individuals believe that system. So the sovereignty is God-given, and the free will is God-given. It's sentient being, pure, error-free, innate. So the genes, obviously, they're also the effect of multi-generational sin and multi-generational, opposite of sin, virtue. Sin in the Greek just means to miss the mark of love. And that's why you get the genetic disorders. Sovereign, sentient, pure, error-free, innate, perfect being. This is how you're created. This is who you really are. And your path is to be your real self, to individuate, to heal completely. And to heal is to heal the causal, unhealed, damaged, injured emotions in the soul. And also to have all these qualities be perfected and purified. So therefore the treatment models, the therapeutic models, are to assist the perfection and the purification of the real human being back to their perfected state. So this is the 3 models that are currently on the planet. There's definitely agreement on the biomedical and the biopsychosocial models on an international basis. Hopefully this is going to change very quickly. And then there will be agreement on the real true model, the bio, spirit, mind, and soul model that's embedded within the social and divine. The divine is the soul is a divine substance. I don't know exactly what the spirit body is made up of, and they're discoveries that we're all going to have to make as time, as we go along. The spirit body will have energetic an energetic electrical currents flowing through it. And this is why they use electric shock when it comes to mental health disorders. If there's possession of a spirit overclocking a human being, driving them mad, to hurt themselves and hurt others, they use electric shock, because what the electric shock does, it removes the spirit that's attached or overcloaked to the human being. And when the spirit is, because of the shock that they get from the electric current, they remove themselves from the human being. But it's at the causal emotion where the emotions, the rapport, the relationship that the human being is having with the spirit. So there's a relationship, because there's holes in the soul body. And what they're doing, there's an energetic substance, which is the relationship that the person is having with the spirit. And therefore, they're allowing the spirit to overcloak them. Once they heal the causal emotions at the soul level, that spirit will not, or any other spirits that have the same rapport, cannot touch them or influence them or possess them. And this is where you saw in the scripture in the 1st century where Jesus said that he was able to, there was a demonic possessed two men in the New Testament, and he was able to speak to the spirits and remove them. But unless they actually cleaned out their house, which means to clean out their soul body, the emotions and the relationship that created that rapport will not be healed and recovered. It will just be a temporary removal of the spirit. So this is where it's really important for the psychological, psychiatric field and the medical field, the health, the welfare and health and social field, to understand that spirits is not just a cultural, religious belief that you respect for the client, but it is a reality truth that it exacerbates the mental health disorder, because of the different scientific models that we have that don't understand that you have a spirit body and they're attaching at the spirit body. In mental health, especially in mental health disorders, which is mostly all of us, even though it might be a lower level than a higher level of violence, when the mental health disorder gets out of hand. So there's a very good doctor, I forgot his name. I think it's called 30 Years Among the Dead, in the 1920s. I haven't read the book, but Jesus talked about it, where the psychiatrist and his wife was a very effective medium, they treat their patients by giving the patient a low level of electric shock. And then once the spirit removed itself from the person, his wife was a medium, was able to talk to the spirit and provide it some therapy so it could move on and stop the influence and the attachment and the possession. And the psychiatrist was then providing psychiatric help, assistance to the person to heal their emotional the emotional hurt, because it's emotional pain that they were feeling and driving them to the mental health disorder. So the psychiatry in the Greek means, it's a Greek word which means the healer of your soul. Yeah. So that is the most effective treatment to heal from the soul, to remove the unhealed causal emotions, and taking a holistic approach. So you use healthy diet, fasting, exercise, good social environment, networks, and healing at the emotional level is the fastest way to complete recovery. This is the fastest, the most healing way. Though the healing is definitely better, it's the most highest beneficial is at all those levels. But the focus is in the causes, not addressing the symptoms. Sure, alleviate symptoms and effects by using therapies, other therapies, alternative therapies, massage, Reiki, acupuncture, these therapies, intellectual cognitive therapy. Your focus is on the emotional healing, allowing yourself to cry, allowing yourself to feel grief, allowing yourself to feel anger and safely release it. And not take you, if you're at a low level, restrain yourself from taking medication, because then you're developing further symptoms that need to be again addressed. So this is the true model of the real self, the bio spirit, which includes the mind, the soul, that's embedded in the social and in spiritual social environment, because we live in a universe, so we don't only live here on the planet, and this includes everything that I've identified, and like I said, taking an integrative holistic approach to healing and growth, and focusing in at the causal level, which is at your soul level. So if you have any, I'll bring it to an end there. If you have any questions, we've run for an hour. If you have any questions, that's good. If you have any questions or require some more assistance, inspiration, anything, support, anything that I can talk to you about, and I'll be doing more recordings next time. You can jump into my YouTube channel, and I'll be uploading this soon enough. So thank you for watching, and hopefully you find this, I know you're going to find this very interesting, and I hope you study, because it's really important to study this, do a complete self-study, and watch the links that I provide for you, and hopefully we'll meet up face-to-face soon. All right, then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next recording.